Hello everyone, back tuning in to today's second video update on New Year's Day. So I hope you have all had a lovely day. I hope you all had a lovely New Year's Day. So I'm going to do Ensembles Watch for today's second video update. So we're going to go through all GFS Ensemble members, see if there's any sign of cold weather setting in for the second week and into the middle part of January. So going to go through all 20 plus members of the GFS Ensembles. The parallel run is updated as I'm speaking. That tends to be a little bit later update, so we may not get the full parallel run, but we'll do our best, and I'll show you everything that we possibly can. So just to say that today's first video was the New Year's Day roundup. So it's here on the home page. Just scroll down the page a little bit, you'll find it above the snow desk, and just looking at things like solar activity, sea surface temperature anomalies, the Arctic oscillation, the North Atlantic oscillation, and of course the weather for the next week to 10 days as well. So have a look at that and see what you think. Terry Scully has also released his January forecast today. So forecast of January 2019 from Terry is out there on GFS, so have a read of that if you would like to do so. Right, so we're at westcentral.de. You can find a link to West Central on the links page and in the description at YouTube. And given all the ensemble members got to get through, I think we'd better crack on with tonight's New Year's Day Ensembles Watch. So we're going to begin with the operational GFS. So this is the main GFS run. Of course, just show you what that is doing tonight. So we're starting at 192 hours, Wednesday, 9th of January, where we have high pressure centre very close to the country. So mild rays starting to move around the top of this high pressure. And basically, up to the start of next week, it's going to be dry, cold and frosty. So the next week is basically dominated by high pressure and will be dry, frosty and cold. By the middle of next week, Wednesday, 9th of January, we're just starting to bring some mild air around the top of this area of high pressure. High pressure just slits out a little bit further to the south. Let's run through that and see what the latest midday operational GFS run does. So it's pulling down some very cold air into Scandinavia on the eastern side of this area of high pressure here at day 10, Friday 11th of January. Real northerly blast pushing down through Scandinavia. We're just on the edge of that. We're under that ridge of high pressure, but we're certainly not all that far away from it. In the extended range, we bring this area of low pressure down across the country on a northwest-southeast track, so that's quite interesting. That could pull down some pretty cold air on its northern flank. However, we don't set up a blocking feature with this operational GFS run. So we finish up as we go towards the middle of January. This is the 16th of January, with high pressure down to our south, low pressure up to the north. I'm going to rather flat westerly flow, which is generally on the mildest side. That's how we finish up, which is Thursday 17th of January, 384 hours away. Looking a bit wet and windy, and possibly having a go at building some pressure to the northwest of this area of low pressure. So we could roll on over 24 hours. I think we'll find this low pressure again going on a northwest southeast trajectory from the UK and Ireland down to France. We've probably pulled down quite a cold northerly wind. So no particularly cold weather, excuse me, from northern blocking northerly easterly winds on tonight's GFS operational run. But there are a few hints that things could turn rather cold at times. Right, so that's how that's looking. Let's get on with the ensembles then. So we're going to go to the control run next. So this is run at a slightly lower resolution. The control run is at a slightly lower resolution compared to the operational run, but it's at a higher resolution compared to all other ensemble members except for the parallel run. Of course, I'll talk about parallel run when we get to it. So this is how we look on Wednesday, the 9th of January. Again, we've got the high pressure just down to our southwest, bringing around this milder sort of westerly, southwesterly flow. So to the middle of next week, it does turn a little bit milder. The high pressure is not going anywhere, really. It's very close to us as we go up to and a little bit beyond day 10. Keep that high pressure really quite close. Pull down a northerly wind there on Sunday the 13th of January, but that doesn't last very long. We're back into kind of like a flat westerly quite quickly. That's how we finish up with the GFS control run, and we're still looking pretty mild really up to the 17th of January, still bringing in most milder southwesterly winds. This is ensemble member number 1. It has high pressure to our south-southwest on Wednesday the 9th of January, and we'll see what happens with this area of high pressure. So it gradually sticks to our south and southwest, slowly gets a little bit eroded. We're having a go at pulling winds into the north. We have actually turned wind into the north there as we get through to the where I were to the 15th of January. So cold air's pushing down through much of Scandinavia, Central Europe, but we're still very close to that ridge of high pressure, still not sending it particularly far north. We finish up with those southwesterly winds. So again, that's another one that has to go at some colder weather through the second week of January, but doesn't quite get itself into a proper blocking pattern. This is ensemble member number 2. Again, real northerly here on the 9th of January for Scandinavia. Real northerly blast there. We're under this ridge of high pressure once again. What happens with ensemble member number 2 is that it pans out like this. We are building some higher pressure to our north with this ensemble member, so you'll notice the heights are really building there to the north, to the northeast, with very cold air sitting over Scandinavia. At this point, up to the 14th of January, we're quite mild with these southerly winds. There'll be outbreaks of rain too, but we really will be watching very, very closely for that deep cold pool that is sitting just to our east. What's going to become of that? Well, this is what happens. So the low pressure in the Atlantic just manages to fend off that blocking signature until the very end of the run, and then we do start to pull in some much colder winds from the east and northeast, particularly across Scotland. So it takes a while to get there, but by the time you get through to the 17th of January, that looks like it's pulling down some very cold air from Scandinavia on those easterly winds. Ensemble member number 3 has high pressure out to the west and low pressure to the east, with a bit of a northerly wind for the 9th of January. We go through up to and beyond day 10, and we just have high pressure sitting very close to us. So this is keeping things pretty anticyclonic, although winds are turning into the north here as we're going into the middle part of January, time to raise the heights around Greenland and Iceland. The trough is sinking through Scandinavia, so that's having a go at getting us into a very blocked and cold setup. Blocking is increasing around Greenland. We have got the winds into the north there on the 17th of January. Looks like it could be pretty cold and wintry for the middle and second half of the month for ensemble member number 3. Ensemble member number 4 has high pressure out to our southwest as we go into the middle part of next week, running up towards day 10. We're taking that high pressure towards the mid-Atlantic. It's a mid-Atlantic ridge, and moving it up towards Greenland. So this is a cold one. This is a really wintry one. Got a blocking setup over Greenland here, and low pressure to our east, and this strong northerly wind. Follow the isobars back. That is a real northerly blast. The air is coming truly from the Arctic with that northerly. We're sinking low pressure down across the country as well. That would undoubtedly be bringing heavy snow. This is a really wintry ensemble member for the middle part of January. Ensemble member number 4. We finish up, telling me it's a little bit milder out to the west. So starting to turn a bit milder, wetter and windier at the very end, but that's a proper wintry one. Ensemble member number 4. Ensemble member number 5 with high pressure down to the southwest of the country as we go into the run up towards the middle part of January. Trying to keep things milder, but again, you'll notice, here we go, we're raising heights up to the north. That's turning the winds into the north as we go into the middle part of the January. Proper cold northerly winds coming through there. It does look a really wintry run this for the second week of January into the middle of the month. Heavy snow and cold northerly winds blasting across the country. That's another pretty wintry one. Ensemble member number 5. Ensemble member number 6 has high pressure already started to build over Scandinavia on Wednesday the 9th of January with high pressure down to our southwest. Is this going to turn into an easterly run? Let's have a look. So high pressure builds through the country around day 10, but there we go. We're taking the high pressure up towards Greenland once again and starting to turn the winds into the north. There's a real northerly setting in here around the middle part of January, as cold air is sitting across Scandinavia, very cold air up there. By the very end of this GFS ensemble member, on the 17th of January, we're beginning to bat winds back into the west once again. Ensemble member number 7 has high pressure through the country on Wednesday the 9th of January. Let's see where this high pressure goes. So it just sticks around the country as we go up towards day 10. In the extended range, let's see what ensemble member number 7 wants to do with an area of high pressure. So just keeping it to our west-southwest. It's having a go at turning wind into the north, but not quite achieving it. So that's a milder ensemble member up to 17th of December. Although you notice very deep cold pool is again sitting across Scandinavia and back into Western Russia. So just slight tweaks would move this high pressure north a little bit. We would have a very cold pool of air sitting just to our northeast. However, that is a milder ensemble member number 7. Ensemble member number 8 with high pressure down to the southwestern part of the country as we go into the middle of next week. And then again, this one is taking the high pressure north, so turning winds into the north, albeit quite briefly at day 10. And, well, look at this. We go off into quite a prolonged cold spell there as we get through to the 13th of January. We've got real northeasterly winds there with high pressure out to the northwestern part of the country. And we just keep these repeated northerly shots going with ensemble member number 8. So that's a pretty cold and pretty wintry ensemble member through the second week of January up to the middle of the month. This is ensemble member number 9. We're already in a northerly as early as Wednesday the 9th of January. So most of these ensemble members have this high pressure close to or a little bit to the southwest of the country on the 9th of January. This ensemble member has the high pressure going up towards Greenland and Iceland. It is bringing down this bitterly cold northerly wind as well as early as the middle of next week. Let's see what comes of this one. So up to day 10, keeping wind into the north and northeast, staying very cold and wintry then. Let's run into the extended range. Low pressure starts to move in from off the Atlantic, so for a while it's turning a little bit less cold. But, well, there we go up to the 13th and the 15th of January. Low pressure then is sitting in the North Sea with a really cold and snowy northerly wind blasting across the country. That looks very, very wintry indeed, that ensemble member. Number 9, that's a real wintry blast through the middle part of January. That's how we finish up on the 17th of January with ensemble member number 9, high pressure up towards Greenland. Still looking pretty blocked, still looking pretty cold. Have to say, these ensembles do seem to be an upgrade tonight for cold weather through the second week of January and the middle of the month. This is ensemble member number 10. High pressure's reaching through the country middle of next week. What's going to happen with this one? So, again, we are pulling down cold air from the north. Look at this. We've got a real block setting up around Greenland. That is a true Greenland high that we've got there with this area of low pressure collapsing down across the UK. That would be bringing very cold air with it and potentially quite a bit of snow. And just look at all that blocking that we've got for ensemble member number 10 as we get to the middle of January. Massive amounts of northern blocking across Greenland and the Arctic. That looks pretty severe, I have to say. That's locked in cold, true locked in cold and blocking. When you've got those yellow colours turning up close to Greenland and in the North Pole, that is truly locked in to cold weather. It would take a long time to break out of that block. Winds are in from the east, and that's just very, very wintry and prolonged wintry, cold, snowy weather through the middle of January. Ensemble member number 10. Ensemble member number 11 has high pressure out to the west of the country and then sits over the country as we move up towards day 10. And then a little bit beyond day 10, what's going to happen when we find that high pressure continues to be very close to the UK. So this one doesn't get into a true northern blocking pattern, just keep high pressure close to the country. That's a milder option, I think, ensemble member number 11, although it does hint at a little bit of cold weather at times. But out of a lot of these ensemble members, which are pretty cold, that's a milder one. Number 12, with high pressure over the country on the 9th of January. Let's see what's going to happen with this one as we get towards day 10. We keep that high pressure very, very close to the country, but then we begin to raise heights around Iceland and Greenland again. So by the time we get through to middle of January, this is the 15th, with turbo wind into the east, northeast, we're putting bitterly cold air out to Scandinavia with this high pressure out to the northwest of the country. So that's bringing snow in from the east there around the middle part of January, and stays cold up to the end of the ensemble run, which is 17th of January, still cold and that ridge of high pressure. Looks like the Atlantic's going to have a go at trying to dislodge that cold air. This is ensemble member number 13, again with high pressure just to our southwest as we go up to day 10, and then let's go into the extended range. And this one's keeping things pretty flat until we get to around the 14th or 15th of January, and then it's turning winds into the north. So it takes a little bit longer to get to cold weather, but eventually, look at that, we're going into the second half of January, and it's setting up a bitterly cold, strong northerly wind. The blocking isn't as extreme as it is on ensemble member number 10. With this one, it's not a true northern blocking feature, but it's certainly enough to produce a very cold northerly outbreak. Ensemble member number 14 with high pressure again just to our southwest in around a week's time. We go into the extended range, and this one's trying to raise heights over Scandinavia, I think. So we haven't seen a great deal of Scandinavian highs. It's tended to be sort of Greenland blocking that's most prominent, or Northern Atlantic blocking, with most of these ensemble members. This one is having a go at raising a true Scandinavian high. We have got wind into the east here through the, or we are getting wind into the east through the middle part of January. Proper easterly winds bringing bitterly cold air in from central parts of Europe, probably bringing snow with those easterly winds as well. That's how we look at the end of ensemble member number 14, with high pressure just sitting over top of the country, dry, cold, and probably very frosty up that point. This is number 15. Ensemble member number 15 again looks pretty blocked as early as the middle of next week, Wednesday 9th of January. You've got high pressure close to the country, but notice how it's ridging northwards. This looks like it's going to be a wintry ensemble member already, so we're taking that high pressure at day 10 up towards Greenland and Iceland. Are we going to pull down any northerly winds? Actually, what happens with this one is that high pressure starts to move southwards and we go into westerly. So that's a failed sort of cold spell with that one. Very different ensemble member compared to most that we've seen. It has a go, it definitely has a real go at producing northern blocking, but it's a failed attempt. We finish up on the 17th of January with high pressure building over Scandinavia and up to the northeast of the country as well. So a bit of a battle taking place at the very end of that ensemble member on the 17th of January. Ensemble member number 16 with high pressure, again very close to the country through the middle part of next week. What's going to happen with ensemble member number 16? So this one's just going to keep high pressure very, very close to the country into the middle part of January. So this is dry, frosty conditions continuing right way through to the middle of January. No easterly, no northerly winds with that one, no blocking, just dry, frosty and cold. So that option is on the table as well, to just keep high pressure over the country, and it remains very dry but also pretty frosty. This is ensemble member number 17, and it has high pressure to our south and low pressure out in the Atlantic. What's this one going to do? So it is having a go at raising heights to the north. It's building particularly over Scandinavia. So this one turns us into turns winds into the east, gives us an easterly as we get to the middle and second half of January. So that one again pretty cold as we get beyond day 10. This is ensemble member number 18, already taking the high pressure up towards Greenland and Iceland as early as the middle of next week, and pulling down this very cold northerly wind across northern and eastern parts of the country. Then low pressure starts undercutting it. Look at that. That's producing, will be producing a snow event for many of us as low pressure undercuts that blocking. That gets out of the way. We turn the wind into a very cold northerly or northeasterly. Then the high very quickly starts to collapse, and we go into an Atlantic wet and windy phase as we get through to the middle part of January. So that one does have a pretty potent colder interlude, but it doesn't last very long. Very quickly gets us into Atlantic winds by the middle of January. This is ensemble member number 19. We've got again the high pressure just out to our west-southwest through the middle part of next week. Then this low pressure diving southwards, turning winds into the northeast. But we're not getting the high pressures far north with this ensemble member, so this one isn't as cold. It's more Atlantic driven. However, it does finish up with a very potent northerly wind, and it looks like we are beginning to get some true northern blocking going as well by 17th of January. Ensemble member number 19, and then finally for the ensemble members, it's number 20, ensemble member number 20 through the middle of next week, has that high pressure very close to the UK. Let's see what number 20 is going to do. So it keeps things pretty flat and westerly as we're going into the extended range, and then it starts to pull down colder air from the north right at the very end of our ensemble member. That's how we finish up on 17th of January. Cold northerly to northeast winds have set in. Again, not real true northern blocking with that one, but it does look like it is slowly but surely getting there. We'll just see how far we can get with the parallel run. So again, this is being run in parallel to the operational run. This will become the operational run of the GFS model later this year. This is how the parallel run is looking, up to 360 hours, which is almost getting us towards the very end of the run. So middle of next week, high pressure is sitting over the top of the country, bringing again mainly dry but cold and frosty weather. What is the parallel GFS run going to do with this area of high pressure? Well, it's taking it north. There we go. It's beginning to push it north. Having go pushing it north anyway as we get towards the middle part of January. Really severely cold air sinking down through Scandinavia and much of northern Europe. That's a recurring theme for very cold air to be digging in over Scandinavia, much of northern Europe. I know you have a lot of people watching in Scandinavia and across much of Europe. Winter really biting in there on the parallel run of the GFS. It looks like for us, actually, we don't really tap into that very cold air on the parallel GFS run. We're up to 360 hours. We can't go any further, I don't think. Oh, yes, we can. It's actually updated. So we can get to the very end of the parallel GFS run, 384 hours away. And we're in that west-southwesterly wind then, but with a really deep cold pool sitting just to our northeast. There's the upper air temperature showing how cold it is up over Scandinavia. So slight adjustments. We will possibly be tapping into that in the second half of January, but as it is, the parallel run is actually a milder option compared to a lot of these GFS ensemble members. The last thing I can show you is the graph, just see whether that has updated. So we'll go to there and we'll see if it's updated. Yes, it has. So that's how the graph is looking for. We're at Bristol. That's the last place that we looked at on West Central yesterday's video, I think, or maybe the day before. So you see huge amounts of scatter there, but there is very clearly is a downwards trend with the white line, which is the trend line. It's clearly trending colder as we're going into the second week of January and through to the middle part of the month. The white line, the trend line, is trending downwards, and there are several ensemble members that are looking pretty cold, going down to -10 at 850 HPA. So a little bit inconclusive, but I think the trend basically within the GFS ensembles is to turn things colder through the second week of January and go into the middle part of the month. Quite how it happens, they are all differing with that. Where it happens from a mid-Atlantic ridge initially, or whether it happens from a true northern blocking feature around Greenland, or whether it happens from Scandinavia. They're all kind of differing in how we get to that colder weather, but it does look as though the second week of January the GFS ensembles are trending colder, and potentially there is the option there on the table to set up true northern blocking, which of course is something that we're looking for from this sudden stratospheric warming that we've been talking about for the last few weeks. So definitely a few ensemble members are setting up true northern blocking, locked in cold block conditions by the middle of January on some minority, but some of those GFS ensemble members. Most of them, though, do it either from a Scandinavian high or from a mid-Atlantic ridge, at least initially, and then they perhaps progress on into proper northern blocking beyond that, who knows. So, all looking quite interesting. It does look as though the middle part of January could be shaping up to be quite cold. We'll have to wait and see, and we'll keep you updated, of course, on this Gale service over the next few days. Thanks so much for tuning in on your New Year's Day. So, that's it for New Year's Day. We may only be one day old for the year, but we're certainly off and running with the updates. Thanks for tuning in, and enjoy what's left of New Year's Day. Thanks for watching.